All right, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Bold American Podcast presented by Barstool Sports. Lots to get to today. Certainly, everything in Iran is still going on and escalating, thus impacting the Strait of Hormuz. How am I pronouncing that? Correctly,
Hormuz.
incorrectly? I'm not. Hormuz? What?
Hormuz, yeah.
Hormuz? Hormez?
Hormuz.
Tomato? I'm not sure. President Trump had some choice words for our NATO allies today. A lot of fallout from both of those. I want to talk from last week. There were some videos posted and seemingly are going to be continue to be posted from the White House official account with essentially hype videos for what's going on in Iran. I want to talk about that. And then lastly, there's been a picture floating around that was passed off as Gavin Newsom's daughter, but it wasn't his daughter. And I was just kind of curious to examine where we're at as a society that is what is a topic of discussion in the news. Crazy. But before we get to all that, last 72, Ryan, how are you doing?
Good. It's good to see you guys. We're all back. It's been a minute.
It's been like maybe a month, right? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
That's
Since
crazy.
all three of us are recorded. Yeah, I'm good. I last 72, well, I just had like a crazy week of travel last week. I was in like five different cities in 5 different days while TSA was melting down with the partial shutdown. And I actually didn't experience anything crazy getting through the airports. I was so nervous every time because I kept seeing the news get more and more about like call outs and people quitting. And I didn't have any issues getting in and out of airports, though I landed back in Thursday in Philly. And Thursday was the day that they shut down the TSA pre-check in Terminal C in Philly. And like the lines were insane.
Was it wait, was that the airport where there were lines outside?
That was Austin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was Austin. But Philly was in the news too because they shut down the pre-check. And so but I was coming in the day that that started. But I did have a wild experience I was flying into Chicago on Tuesday night. I had to speak Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. I left Florida at 7 p.m. Hopped on a flight, was supposed to land at 9:30 in Chicago. And it was the craziest thing because we're flying. Pilot comes on and says, "We're going to be making an emergency landing in Indianapolis. Flight attendants, please prepare for landing." That's it. No, this is why, nothing. Lights come on. The flight attendants start coming through and someone says, "What's going on?" They're like, "We know as much information as you." So
That's always
now,
comforting.
yeah, and I'm sitting there
Sucks.
like, is there someone on the plane? Is there a medical like they gave us nothing,
Can you say what airlines?
It was American.
Oh, okay.
Um, and and so we descended faster than like we were on the ground in like 7 minutes. It was wild how fast we went down. And when we got down, the pilot ended up coming on and saying, like, I don't know if you remember Tuesday night, there was those wild storms in the Midwest. It came up through Texas, through the Midwest, but there was tornadoes. And he said he had to make like a split-second decision. And I mean, thank God he did. And everybody was cool about it. But it was just, it was kind of crazy. So I ended up so we're sitting on the tarmac and I'm like, okay, it's 11 o'clock right now. I have to speak at 7 a.m. in Chicago. I'm in Indianapolis. I had somebody calling all these rental agencies. There wasn't because I think they grounded a ton of planes in Indy. There wasn't a rental to be had. And so I ended up getting out of the plane. I went downstairs. I called an Uber at midnight. And I was like, it's a 3-hour drive. I'm like, I don't even know if someone's going to accept it. It got accepted right away. So I got into and I want you guys to guess. Okay, 3-hour ride from
Just
Indianapolis
gonna
to
say.
Chicago. How much do you think that costs?
I think it was $500.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh man.
Did you stop?
850.
It was
$850 because you probably got to pay for him to come back too. It's been so long since I've taken one of those sorts of Ubers where I've been like in a real pinch and needed to go a super long distance. So I don't even know.
It's like, okay, this is gonna be easy, $600. I get down $388
For 3 hours straight to Chicago?
for 3 hours straight to Chicago.
You should do that a lot more.
And I don't know if I can tell this, but when the guy pulled up, nobody knows who the driver is, so it doesn't matter. But the guy pulled up and he actually said, like, can you cancel the ride? He's like, because they're going to take so much of this money. He's like, can you just cancel the ride?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I said, you get me to Chicago safely, done. And he did. So, yeah, he dropped me off at 3 a.m. I got into my hotel. I lied down in the bed. I didn't even get under the covers because I was like, I can't get comfortable. Set my alarm for 5 a.m. Took a 2-hour nap, woke up, was in the ballroom at 6 a.m., spoke to 1,000 people at 7 a.m., and then went right back to the Chicago airport and flew back to Philly. But
you didn't take the Uber back? You didn't take the Uber back to Indianapolis?
Why would I do that? No, I had a flight out of Chicago. But so crazy travel. But like luckily got there, and it was one of those things where I'm like, there's so much more that like you can maximize in a day. I started thinking, I'm like, I just got this done. Like I felt and there was a lot of things that had to go right, but I was like, I did it. Like I'm going off 2 hours of sleep. I got up, I nailed it. And I even was like in the zone when I was speaking, which was wild. Like I was so like, I drank like 3 cups of coffee and I was just like.
You were on some adrenaline because you just experienced something so crazy where you're just like, this is it.
Yeah. And then I went in the next day, flew back to Philly, and then did a 12-hour radiothon the next day with.
I saw that. I was Philadelphia radio station. That.
Yeah. So, but the most exciting thing I did in the last 72 is I went down to Navy, and Navy's women lacrosse won again. They are now 8-0, and they are ranked 4th in the nation coming out of today. But we've got a big game on April 11th because Army just beat Loyola and broke their Patriot League.
By the way, see, that to me is what makes women's lacrosse a little different. Well, but no, I guess men's lacrosse, we hadn't lost to, unfortunately, we got upset by Lafayette, Army's men's lacrosse, for the first time in 41 games.
Yeah.
But it was crazy to me when I saw that stat that Loyola women's lacrosse has never lost a Patriot League game.
They've never lost a regular season Patriot League game. Last year, Navy beat them in the playoffs to win the Patriot League.
But still, that's a ridiculous stat.
Well, yeah. And so so now it literally is for Patriot League. It's Army Navy, so it's just, but it was so fun to be down there with that team. And like, it was the first time I got to a home game this season. And like, just the team is so connected and there's so much excitement, and I don't know. I love
you posted a video. Were all those girls? I mean, I saw your daughter, but were all those girls on the lacrosse team?
At my house, yeah. That was like half the team. They came over after the game, and I got pizzas. And
that was after the game.
That was after the game. Yeah.
Oh, I was like a little perplexed. I thought it was before the game.
You posted something before the game, like the night before the game. That's I think.
No, that was just Maggie's and her besties, like when we were dancing around.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you saw the team picture. No, that was the night before the game. We were just like hanging out. That was her, like, those were all lacrosse players too. But the next night I had like half the team at my house. And I posted a big group shot. So yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I just
don't get those cadets in trouble, Ryan.
Yeah, seriously.
Like you. Oh my God!
I ordered them pizza. How would I get them in trouble?
I don't know.
Shouldn't they be at the team hotel or something? Or I guess maybe the lacrosse team doesn't do a hotel the night before.
It was a home game.
Yeah.
They all had off. It was a Saturday night. They came over for pizza.
No, we're talking about the night before.
Yeah.
The night before we were dancing around. All right. Moving on.
Listen. All I'm going to say is
everyone, Yeah.
What are you going to say? What?
I was just going to say, number one, to Rob's point, people love to be snitches at these schools. So I would just be so careful of anything getting posted of me. Honestly, in general, 100%. Going to school, take the military academies out of it. I think going to school now, and you hear this all the time, it's frustrating because things can get posted and people can interpret things the wrong way. And then on top of that, I just would not want anything posted of me if I went to any of these military academies, because you never know what stupid rule someone thinks you might be breaking, and you might not be breaking it, but the video might be argued otherwise. I would just be like so scared that something would get me in trouble, because I'm telling you, and it's not that they were doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's that, I hate to say it, but these schools have people that feel like it's their duty to monitor everybody else and snitch on people.
100%.
Fully.
We're looking out, Ryan. It's not I've been part of this. Even when Facebook was coming up, I got in trouble. Friends of mine.
Yeah.
And it's still a thing. Man, the stories I'll tell you guys offline too at some point. Like, it's the people have it out at the academy.
Yes.
For
Especially
very
for athletes.
successful families, and it's a thing.
Yes.
Especially someone as well-to-do and established as the Manning family. I just feel like, look, in 20 years, I'm never going to post anything of my son at the academy, unless it's maybe close friends. If Instagram's still a thing, who knows? But I don't know. I'm just, perception is reality at that school, at those places, and it's like, I still like think back to experiences, Connor and Ryan, from when I was a cadet, and I was like asked about stuff that I published or that my friends published, and it's such a crazy place.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
I just have so much pride for those girls.
I'm just surprised.
That's
No,
the thing.
we're not knocking you for that. I'm just surprised you didn't get the mom take that down text.
Yeah.
I normally do. I didn't though.
Yeah.
I think they were just like all fired up. It was their spring break.
But
They've
here's
been
the-
on spring break.
Got it.
That
But
week.
here's the thing. Oh my gosh. There was no sign of alcohol in that video.
Because
But
there wasn't any.
no, I know that.
Dude, I know where you're going with
Oh.
that.
But-
It's spot on.
But I guarantee there's somebody who saw that one and thought to themselves, well, they're probably drinking. Because they clearly were not on post. And I'm just like, this is where people's minds go. And then
Yeah.
it's no different than I think people who follow certain people online and just want to expose
Yep.
any sort of gaffe. There's this weird fascination that humans have with getting other people in trouble. So
I've been
was
part
just,
of it, guys. I've
Yeah.
experienced it. It's not to any great length, knock on wood, but like it is. I don't know. I'm just super particular too. Having
I
gone
think
through
that's a
that place-
fair point. I don't know. Like, listen, I think it's even, I mean, yeah, obviously the service academies are one thing, but I mean, the things people think they know about me based off of my social media
Yeah.
is like wild.
Well,
And I'm like,
exactly.
Oh yeah.
and the assumptions that are made. Yeah, I know.
Oh, Ryan, yes. But what it's also like, you're doing so much good work and you're such a good person and your family's amazing. It's like, I just like hate giving people even an inch of something they can use, right?
Maybe
Like, it's like-
sometimes I don't know. Maybe there's something inside of me that like likes to like not push the boundary. I don't think that's the right word. but
antagonize
just, like-
people?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Mm,
I think that's it.
I love that.
I think that's actually it.
I think that's why we all get along too, because we all share that kind of like vibe and that kind of like fuck it type of like attitude. Like, I think the three of us like all share that. So I definitely, I can see where
Yeah.
you're coming from.
But all that to say, I'm super excited for April 11th. It's going to be an awesome game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that game. So
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about that is, thankfully, they won pretty handedly on Saturday, right?
yeah, they won like 18-6 or something. Yeah, they like killed them. Yeah.
I'm just saying, the last thing you want is a loss, and then they're like, oh, well, those girls were out the night before. And it doesn't matter that they weren't doing anything. The fact that
Yeah.
they were not tucked in their beds, studying their playbooks, people will look for
The
anything
team
to
hotel,
bring people
Connor,
down.
walked away in the team hotel playing video games, phones away, airplane mode.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, Just
Close
interesting.
friends,
Rob,
guys. Close friends.
yeah.
Maybe I'm
Rob,
gonna
what
do.
about?
I think maybe I'm gonna do a green circle like you do, Rob.
Close
Maybe I'll
There
friends,
you go.
guys. It's
There you
the way to
go.
go. You
Yeah.
do
Hey,
that
and
everybody.
by the way, I don't know if your daughter listens to this show, but if not, please text her because I know she has some animosity towards me, and relay that I was looking out for her best interests in
That's
this
a really
little
good
chat.
point. Army guy, Army podcast host looks out for Navy midshipmen.
Oh, she was like kind of visibly rude to Con. She told Connor at Army Navy she didn't like him in this.
No, I go. It's okay. Just tell me straight up. You don't like me, do you? She goes, no, I don't.
Oh my god.
It was very funny. It was
I-
very
I
funny.
really
Because she tried to play it off. She was trying to be polite at first, and I was like, no, it's okay. I would probably hate me too if I were you. Do you hate me? You can say it. And she admitted to
Oh
it.
my god.
So yeah, you can let her know. I was looking
All
out
right.
for her.
Okay, will do.
Rob, what about you, man?
What's up, guys? What did I do this past weekend? It's one of those, Connor, when you have two little ones, you're like, fuck, what did I do? NASCAR this weekend. NASCAR this past weekend was amazing. For work. Fucking love NASCAR. Like the adrenaline is unmatched. I don't know about you guys or Connor, if you when you were at NASCAR, like you're still like on a high, maybe going into bed because of all the craziness and the 200 miles an hour and everything. And with NASCAR, speaking of, I guess, the academies, I was able to meet, I guess, again, Bill Foley, the owner of the Vegas Golden Knights, West Point guy. It was just so fucking loud. I don't think he understood what I was saying, but it was cool to be around him. He's in his 80s, still super cool, super casual, very, very small team. He was great. And then watched the Oscars last night. So I don't know if you guys paid attention.
Yeah.
to
So
that
what
at
did you?
all.
That was one of the things I was going to bring up. What did you guys think of the
Okay.
Oscars? Go
I
ahead.
thought I don't know about you guys, but I fucking love the Oscars, and like there's something about it. I love like the vibe of it, the ambiance. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan. I've been a fan of his since I was young, like growing up watching The Wire. So really cool to see him after Creed, Black Panther, Fruitvale Station, like all these.
that
intense
awkward
movies.
moment.
Yeah, dude.
I love that
right.
movie. I don't care.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Him, Miles Teller,
Yeah.
and Zac Efron. I love that movie, and especially
Dude, that
like
is-
being a young dude at one point in my life in New York City. It was very relatable. Very, very good movie.
And I
Sneaky
think
good
you
movie.
two are close in age as well. Like Michael B. Jordan's a few years older than me. But like regardless.
Yeah, I think he's almost 40.
Yeah. But awesome speech too. Like he nailed it. He thanked his parents and his family, and it was just like so poignant. And then besides that, not much. Pretty chill. Worked out, got some steps in. So yeah.
Very cool. Any other things from the Oscars that kind of stood out for you?
Um
I love seeing
Okay.
Anne Hathaway on stage with Anne and Wintour. That was great. That little
Rachel
joke
McAdams
she made.
tribute to
I tweeted about that when she
Yeah.
got out there and was talking about Diane Keaton. I lost it. That was just really, really. It seemed like this year, and maybe as recency bias, the in memoriam was more thorough and more thought out. Maybe because of the people that had passed, but there were those individual monologues that the other actors did to honor. It was Diane Keaton got one. Who are the other ones that got one?
Robert Redford got the big
Robert
one.
Redford
from
got
Barbra
one
Streisand.
from Barbara Streisand, and then the first one, Rob Reiner. Yes,
Rob
And then
Reiner.
all
That was
his-
the big one.
Yeah.
I
Robert
didn't watch
Duvall
the
did not get
Oscars.
one.
I didn't watch the Oscars, but I did see like controversy today about like James Vanderbeek and
Oh yes,
and who was the guy that just
Eric
died?
Dane.
Eric Dane.
And Eric Dane, they were like notably left out,
So
There's an argument for that, Connor. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say Eric Dane, primarily a TV actor, and the Oscars is movies.
Yeah.
So that could be that. Although James Vanderbeek did movies, so
Yeah.
I would have thought he would have at least been mentioned. But
Yeah.
that
Robert
was upsetting.
Duvall got kind of snubbed in that memoriam too, and there's a reason why. I think he was right, almost close to 100 years old, but that guy did not play the Hollywood game. He did not play the politics, the whole Hollywood long game. He didn't even live in LA. He lived close to my parents in Virginia.
Yeah.
And I think because he leaned a certain way too politically, he he just did his films, got out. Like they kind of snubbed him last night too, and he died recently. So
Yeah, he was 95.
yeah.
Um,
One more, one battle after another, or that one movie that won Best Picture. Connor,
Yes.
I tried to watch it twice.
What,
I
that
hated
Hamnet?
it.
No. One battle after another with Leonardo.
Yeah, with Leonardo
Oh.
Benicio, Best Picture, Best Director. Maybe I'm missing something, and I watched it twice sober. I fucking hated it. It was
Okay.
I couldn't. I don't know if it's trying to be funny or not, but
It was. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
the scene where he's trying to like charge his phone and Benicio's like,
That's
no,
amazing.
come on, we gotta get like that. That was hysterical. I
Yeah.
thought it was a good movie. I liked it. I will say though, like now, I maybe I was aware of this, but I saw it again today. I didn't realize the Academy has very strict guidelines for movies for them to even be considered for a Best Picture, and there's like all these little boxes they have to check in terms of what the movie features and what it's based on for them to be considered for a Best Picture. But I don't know. It's weird. Like Ryan, to your point, I remember, I don't know, maybe we'll call it 10 years ago and later than that. It used to be, and this is back, I think, when most people still had network television and weren't, most people weren't streaming. When everybody kind of watched it, and it feels like almost nobody was watching it last night, and that's just, I think, a sign of the times. And then in terms of the last 10 years of Best Pictures, I've only seen 4 of them. And that's another thing where I think back in, the 90s and early 2000s, I was staying up to date on movies more. So,
I also think they were more mainstream movies that used to be.
yeah.
Like I don't even know these movies. Like I've never even heard that one.
Well, Sinners was amazing, actually, and the one Michael B. Jordan won Best Oscar for Best Performing Male. Like he played 2 characters essentially. The movie was very, very well done. And that one came out like a year ago. So like, what I'm trying to get at is like the Oscars to me. I don't know if it's like this year, but like I feel like it's super late in the year, or like I don't know. I feel like every year it's like a different weekend, isn't it? Like it just like sneaks up on me. Like
I like watching I didn't watch the Oscars, but I enjoy watching what
Emmys?
everybody's wearing. No, I don't watch the I like seeing like the recap of all the outfits. Kate
Yes.
Hudson.
Anne Hathaway was a dime. She looked.
Oh, she is doing very well. She looks
I gotta
fantastic.
say too, from the guys, I mean, Leo looked great. Like I love looking at like the guys in terms of like what they wear, like suit wise and stuff, and see what like is in. Like Leo looked great. Michael B. Jordan looked great. Sean Penn was literally not there. He said "fuck it," and he won Best Supporting Actor.
Oh yeah,
too.
Another one. Yeah, it's his 3rd Oscar. I'm pretty sure.
That's
for
crazy.
acting.
I think he was in Ukraine. Or is he?
Oh yes, he was. In terms of Best Pictures, here are ones that I would think maybe you've seen, Ryan.
Okay.
I don't think you've seen Coda, which I thought was very good. Did you see Green Book?
No.
Nope. What about Spotlight?
Nope.
Dude, I didn't.
Spotlight, I've watched. Spotlight has unbelievable rewatchability. Spotlight's actually a really good movie. What about Argo?
No.
What, Ryan? You need to watch Argo like this week.
Yeah. What about The Departed?
Yes.
Okay. What? And then I'll go back to 2000. Gladiator?
Yes. Of course.
Okay.
It's Gladiator.
What about American Beauty?
Yes,
Oh.
love that movie. That's a great movie.
Wow, that is.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at the last 10 years, like I said, I've seen 4 of these, and I don't have any desire to see any of the ones just because they won Best Picture. It just doesn't. None of them really stood out to me. But
Dude,
anyway.
Spotlight. I forgot Spotlight. That's such a heavy movie.
It is, but it's weirdly rewatchable.
Yeah,
Especially even though I'm Catholic. I don't know. It's so good.
One more thing too on the Oscars, real quick, guys. Best Supporting Actress was the lady who played the witch or whatever, that hideous woman in Weapons. Have you guys seen Weapons?
No.
Oh, with the kids? Okay. Anyways.
And I just looked it up. I've never even heard of this movie, Spotlight. I'll watch it. I've never even heard of it. Like literally,
Right. You gotta start watching.
No. Ryan, you grew up Catholic, or maybe you're still Catholic?
I am. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, you have to watch Spotlight and please report back. It's actually a really
Mm-hmm.
really good movie, obviously based on a true story. It's incredible.
Yeah, sadly, yeah.
Yeah, no, yes, sadly, but also it's good that it came out. Hopefully that eradicated a lot of what was going on. But it's incredible. And Michael Keaton is awesome in it, and girl Rachel
Okay. I'll watch
McAdams.
it.
So yeah,
I'll watch
absolutely
it.
have to watch it.
Yeah.
Big thing I did this weekend for the first time as a parent, and actually, I was trying to think the last time I went to one of these, I think it was, God, maybe like 35 years ago, maybe,
Oh,
30,
shit.
35 years ago. We took Maggie and, well, Mac was there too, although he doesn't know what's going on. We went to Disney on Ice for,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was Frozen and Encanto.
Nice.
And
So fun.
I'll tell you, listen, in a world where everyone is so addicted to screens, and it almost seems maybe now like we're starting to get away from that as a society. I think we saw what screens were doing to people, especially children, and it feels to me like we're making a conscious effort to get away from them. But
Based
to
on
go
what?
to my own observations, nothing other than that. It just feels like less kids are on screens, or at least people are
Okay.
making an attempt,
We're
or
being conscious about it for sure. Yeah.
like talking about it openly, because I think now you have a generation of parents that saw that first generation of parents that raised kids when iPads were really coming of age and really threw the screens in front of them. And now we're starting to see the effects of that. And we're like, wait a second. And also, you have a generation, I think, that kind of grew up with the internet and with screens themselves, but also without screens. So, based on what they've seen about the effects of slapping an iPad in front of your kid, I mean, Jesus, I think we've talked about it. The whole enemy in Toy Story 5 this year is a
Yeah,
iPad.
a tablet or something, right?
Yeah. So it was not just great to see all these kids losing their minds at Disney on Ice and just really enjoying the show. And I'm not ashamed to admit, at one point I looked over at Maggie. She is singing with every fiber of her
that's good.
tiny little being. And I felt myself like getting choked up at watching her experiences. And it was as though she had no other way to express the joy that was pouring out of her. And it was just so rewarding and fulfilling to see that, because, like I said, you don't get that watching them stare at an iPad. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
it was,
Well done.
yeah, it was cool. And I'm not, trying to be like, oh, I'm the super dad, because it wasn't my idea. It was my wife's idea to go to see this. I have to give so much credit to my wife. I look at our calendar and like basically all the things that we do are because she says, okay, we should go do this, that, or the other thing. I don't come up with these ideas. She does. I'm just a trooper and I go along with it. But it was just a lot of fun, and hopefully we can continue to do more things like that with the kids as they get older. And again, last thing I'll say, then we can kind of get into the serious stuff. I'm endlessly fascinated right now by reading about being a parent and reading about the effects of various things on our children. And I kind of feel blessed, and this is through no doing of my own, it just kind of happenstance, that I have had kids now after that first generation, that first wave of all these iPad kids. And like I said, we're seeing the negative effects of that. So hopefully we can all band together as parents and say, hey, maybe we just don't do that with them going forward.
Yeah, I'll tell you real quickly. So, I've got an 11-year-old son, and he loves his iPad. Um
He has
and
an iPod?
iPad. Did I say pod? I said iPad.
Speaking of iPod, I'm going to interrupt really quick. I saw someone say, like, let's bring back iPods so we can give kids music, but without, like, the internet and social media and just music. But go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So he obviously isn't on like social media, but like he does like to watch YouTube, and he does some games, like he does this Flaggle game, which is actually really, every day he learns a new flag. I'm supportive of that. And then he like plays like whatever games, no Roblox. We don't allow Roblox, but games with his friends at night. But we did this thing where we actually, like, the moms got together because these kids like sit on their iPads all night, and we're like, if you say one, they're like, well, Billy and Bob are still on. So we did this.
Yep.
I got on this group text and we're
That's
like,
good.
hey, 9 o'clock, we're telling the boys, like, iPads are done for the night. And so we all like band together and we're like, if we all do it, and so, they can all bitch about us together in their chat, but like, we're all taking the iPads away at 9. And it has to be like a group, like,
Yeah.
because then your kid's like the one left out. So you got to like really work it with the parents.
Yeah. And that's the thing with social media too, is these kids just don't want to be left out. Not necessarily that they want to be on social media. They just don't want to be left out from social media. And don't get me wrong, I grew up with video games, but it just wasn't something I did for 6 hours on a Saturday when it was gorgeous outside. Growing up, we didn't have that in us to just only want to play video games. And I think there's a whole generation that just like got raised and all they want to do is play video games.
1000%. Yep.
So, and you know what? Let's actually, let's switch it up. That's a good segue. Let's talk about these, speaking of video games, let's talk about these White House hype videos. Cause the last one I saw was a compilation of different video games, and then they splice in the footage of us blowing up Iranian ships. And I've been very vocal on social media saying how I think this is really ridiculous and somewhat deplorable that we're posting these videos from official White House accounts, and seemingly they're making light of what's going on in the Middle East when we've now lost over a dozen service members, and it's a very real thing what we're doing in the Middle East. And these videos, to me, for lack of a better word, make it seem like it's a game, and war's not a game, as we all know. So what do you guys think about these videos that the White House official account has been putting out?
I don't like it. I think I'm not surprised by it. It's kind of like what this administration does a little bit, like the shtick, with the, I think they're trying to embrace social media, and but I do think trivialize isn't the right word, but I do think it takes out like the seriousness of what's happening right now. And like, I know that if I was one of the families that had just lost my loved one, and then I'm seeing these videos, like it wouldn't sit right with me for sure.
Understandably.
Yeah.
I agree. Man, it's one of those things where, having lived through the whole mission accomplished thing, Cons and Ryan, and the whole Iraq war and Afghanistan, and me being in the marketing field, I'm like, you kind of want to save that for when true victory is kind of encapsulated, or I don't know. It's almost like you're getting trigger happy on social, and if they post that, like they're gonna rally to their base and to the people who are rah-rahing it. I would not have published that. Probably would have held on to some of that for after any sort of victory is kind of determined, whenever we figure that out, right? But I did love your tweet though, and I think you were spot on, because I think it's at almost 1 million views now or something. I think one of your tweets went like viral. So well done there. And I think your social's been taken off at least recently, Cons. But anyways, no, I think it's like, dude, I think it's kind of poor taste.
I just don't understand what the purpose is. Clearly, in theory, the purpose is, well, we want to get people in support of what we're doing in the Middle East. I don't think there's anybody who's sitting on the fence like, I'm not really sure how I feel about this, then watches one of these videos and thinks to themselves, oh, you know what? I'm all in now. I just don't think that's how it goes. And Ryan, I think you hit the biggest point is that we have, I mean, the numbers are small relative to, other conflicts, but one is
but
too big of a number.
The gravity of this situation, you want to call it a war, you want to call it what do they call it? An excursion?
Conflict?
Conflict, whatever you want to call it. Like, the gravity of it is huge. And, outside of the families that have already lost a service member, there's thousands and thousands of moms and dads and husbands and wives that's loved ones are deployed. Like, I think about it from like the parental, like, that's not what I want to see. I want to see like a serious stance of like, we're going to take care of this. We're going to do our job. It just, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. By making these videos, it almost in some ways makes it feel like dismissing it as, something that is just kind of run of the mill operations for us. But then on the flip side, there's not been communicated a clear-cut end date for this conflict. So we're seeing these videos for a conflict that might go until the summer, might go until the fall. And it just seems like a mixed up priority that we're so concerned about making these videos, these hype videos, that we're not focused at the mission on hand and figuring out what's our exit strategy.
Yeah, but I don't think that I wouldn't go that far to think that like the posts are a distraction from like the mission at hand. Like, I think they understand the mission at hand, and I don't know that the posts are necessarily just distracting them or detracting them from taking care of the business they need to take care of. But I just don't think it sends the right message, is what. Like, I don't think it's doing anything. Like you said, no one's going, oh yeah, now I support this. Right.
People have their minds made up one way or the other going into it.
Maybe it's a recruiting tactic. I mean, you have to think about it. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's meant to drive like, young kids to be like, shit, that's cool. I don't know. I can't think of what else it would be.
No, that's actually a good point. I hadn't thought about that, because when you think about getting into another conflict in the Middle East, well, very recent history tells us we could be in this thing for a long time. And that alone probably drives recruiting numbers down in the immediate. So what do we do to make sure they level off or increase? Well, let's make these videos. And I think who might be impressed by these videos, I hate to say it, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids probably don't think about it beyond just what they're watching on the screen and have zero idea about what the implications might be of these videos going public. So
yeah, I also think too that the one thing I do believe truly is like this administration has a deep pride in our military. Like, I do believe that. And I think that, I think to some respects, maybe they're doing this to, hype them up, to show them I think maybe it's a mix of like that and like recruitment efforts. I don't love it, but I don't think there's malice behind what they're doing. Or like, I don't think there's like ill intent. I don't know. If I was the marketing.
I'll tell you what, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, you have a bunch of adults in the room that need, because the other thing is, it's not like they made one video. They've now made a few. You would think like, okay, let's assess the
then maybe they're
reaction.
Assessing.
You're right. Maybe they're assessing. They're like, hey, it's going great. Do it more.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's more of an indictment on our country as a whole. But again, it harkens back to what we were talking about the other week about how this is really the first major conflict that is playing out on social media. So the rules are different. We for the majority of Iraq and Afghanistan, we had Facebook in the beginning and then MySpace. And I mean, obviously Twitter came around in 2009, I believe, but none of them were as prevalent as social media is now between TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and the immediacy with which we see videos and updates. So we're in uncharted territory and people are all figuring it out. It's just surprising and maybe not so, but I just have greater expectation for how the official White House account should comport itself. And these videos aren't it, in my opinion. And that's where we're at. Going along the lines, Iran is obviously, still very much going on. We've just recently did a major bombing raid on the Karg Island, which is Iran's main oil export hub. We destroyed a bunch of military targets there. Iran has been launching missiles and drones at Israel, U.S. bases, Gulf states, and they're also targeting ships and oil facilities. And to date, there have been more than 1,300 deaths that have been reported in Iran as the conflict continues. And this ultimately has impacted the Strait of Hormuz, which is a major shipping lane that has been heavily disrupted, which impacts the entire world. So about 20% of the world's oil normally passes through this waterway. So any disruptions can spike oil prices globally. I filled up my gas tank today and it was $80. Previously it had been, in the 40s. So certainly that stings. The Pentagon's sending 2,500 Marines and sailors to the Middle East. So we're starting to see the deployments tick up. So you think about those families back home, those mothers and fathers and spouses and children now that have to worry about mom and dad that are in the Middle East and the uncertainty of that. I think back to Iraq and Afghanistan. Certainly in the very beginning, things were very uncertain. But then we got to a point where you knew how long your deployment was, which is odd to think that you knew that you were going somewhere for 12 to 15 months, or in the case of the Marines, 6 months. And that was not going to change no matter what. How that works, thinking back on it now, is kind of crazy. So we've had all of this going on in Iran. And the question I want to pose to you all, certainly when it first started 2 weeks ago, it seemed like it was all anybody could talk about. It almost, and again, this is just how I feel, it feels like it's almost now like an afterthought already. And it's died down enough on social media. And certainly it's still being reported on in the news, on television, and on social media. But it feels already like it's dying down. Do you guys get that impression, or do you think it's still front and center?
I think it's still front and center from the outlets that I follow, the accounts that I think it's still front and center, but I don't know. I'm not on Twitter. You're on Twitter. Like, I don't.
Well, yeah. So let me frame it like, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, TikTok. And I guess what I'm saying is, in the beginning, everybody was talking about it. Whether you're somebody who normally talks about the military or not, it seems like everybody had an opinion on what was going on. Whether you follow politics or not, everybody had an opinion. And now we're back to, well, the people who are covering it are the people who always cover the military and those sorts of stories. So, of course, they're reporting on it. But it doesn't have that same overarching dominance of the news cycle that it felt like it did 2 weeks ago. And
I mean, neither does Nancy Guthrie's.
No.
Take.
Right.
So, like, I think
Where's
it's
she
just
at?
I think that's just the nature of our news cycle. Like, it is, they're spitting so much shit at us at all times that's just how a 24-hour media works, which is,
well, it's almost like things. It's almost like 24-hour media, but on 2x speed, right? Because 24-hour media has been a thing for a long time, but to this extent, it really is unbelievable. It's almost in hyperdrive, and a lot of people just aren't even talking about it anymore. Which is crazy because we're ramping things up.
I think, Connor, I think a lot of it has to do with just how decisive our military, execution was. Just
we
it's
completely
unsexy in the
annihilated
sense
them.
of we're pounding we've decimated their military, and like I guess from a media standpoint, you can tell that story for 3-4 days, maybe a week or two, but then like by
Yeah.
week 3, if you're just continuing the same barrage and having such impact, and like no one's really getting shot at as much across the Gulf and in Israel as they were 3 weeks ago. That's kind of died down because we've decimated so much of the IRGC. We've kind of I think we have contained the straits now. So it's like we have exercised full fucking force without putting kind of boots on the ground. So
don't get me wrong, it's impressive what our military has done. I don't want to take anything away from the Navy, the Air Force, Marines, Army, anybody who's been involved. It's very impressive how quickly and decisively we have decimated their ability to mount any sort of countermeasures. And this is kind of, I saw somebody talking about sports too, how even major moments seemingly go away in the matter of a day, tops.
Yeah,
just because we're all on to the next thing.
Yeah.
It used to be where a moment might linger, and the example that was used was how it might linger for a week, because then the following week you'd get Sports Illustrated, and that was the cover story. So it kind of would get to live longer and breathe for at least a week. And now, nothing lasts more than a few days.
I mean, if you look at it too, it's like everyone has to have a take on everything too. So like you're consistently, every time I open up Twitter or Instagram or like on a Saturday morning, Cons and Ryan, it's like there's 50 new fucking problems in the world. There's 50 new takes, and it's like a fucking Saturday. You can't just all just kind of chill. It's like there's this constant stream of like info and takes and posts, and it's like that is how it is. So it's like it's never gonna go back to the way it was. Unfortunately, but I do agree with you too. And it's like the unknown right now is very interesting, because we've always in our military, just looking back, the way my own deployments were and the way we strategized and how we always had timetables and stuff, and how there were always timelines to conflict and what we did in Iraq and Afghanistan. Well, we fucking lost those wars. So it's like, like that whole, I feel like the whole last 20, 30 years of the way we did shit didn't really lead to much success. So like
it's not like there's a blueprint that we should follow necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like some of these old birds and some of these old generals talking on TV, it's like, I appreciate your take, sir, man, but like we fucking were in Afghanistan for 20 years and it resulted in a loss. So like, I don't know, man. It's just kind of like, spare me, bro. It's like, let's see how this shapes up, and then let's reconvene in April or May. Hopefully it doesn't continue, so Cons doesn't spend too much money on gas. Same with me and my Forerunner, but like
to that point, what do you guys think about the Navy probably escorting oil tankers through the strait?
We did that fucking 20 years ago, didn't we? And 30 years ago, and 40 years ago.
Oh, longer than that, back in the 80s.
Okay, yeah, so 40 years ago.
So we've done that. We've done this operation before, but if that's what it takes to bring oil prices down and ensure that oil trade continues without disruption, without people putting mines.
I'm curious why the Saudis and like other countries who have fucking oil exports too aren't giving us a hand with some of that. Like,
well, all right. So that goes to the point what I was going to say about President Trump and what he said about NATO. He said, I've been saying it for a long time. This is the greatest thing to come out of this. We spend trillions and trillions of dollars on NATO to defend other countries. And I always said, but if it ever comes time to defend us, they're not going to be there. Many of them would not be there. And we're going to have to start thinking more wisely in this country. Some have been very good. One or two have been great. I'll tell you who the great ones are at the right time. But ultimately, he's just been on a barnstorming tour today, trashing all of our NATO allies, saying, nobody's giving us any help. You all clamor for our support and our defense, but now we're saying, hey, we could use a hand, and everybody's sitting on their hands. So that's kind of not fair, right?
I think he's absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could argue. We should be getting support from all these countries.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
Yeah, well, what did they say? It's not a NATO.
Right.
like this isn't a NATO approved mission. I don't know
Right.
how they framed it, but like I don't agree with that.
Guys, if you like as the resident German as resident European on the team, like imagine I just want you guys to think about this. The way the Europeans think and operate from everything across business, sports, like government. Think of like the worst experience you ever had in the military or the DMV with bureaucratic mechanism in America. Multiply that times 100. That's Europe. Then also add the fact that 95% of Europeans hate Trump. And for these leaders
but it's not about Trump. It's not about Trump.
Those leaders in power, if they were to do anything militarily or foreign policy wise to support the US, it is going to make them so unpopular. Like it's a whole saving face thing. It really is.
Then that's therein lies the problem, Rob.
See? Yeah.
So, yeah, they said several European leaders and officials have pushed back against the demand, stating that the conflict is, quote, not NATO's war.
Mm-hmm.
German officials, Rob, emphasized that NATO is a defensive alliance and this mission falls outside of its mandate.
Yeah, the Germans have always been like that foreign policy wise. They said the same thing in Iraq. The German military is a fucking joke too. Like up until last year, 2 years ago in Africa, they were still relying on our equipment. The only European army that I would probably want to go into combat with or do anything with would probably be like the Poles or maybe some of the Eastern European countries, maybe the UK. But like most of the European armies and their stance on what we do in the world is just such a joke. It's almost like it's not even worth having.
It's almost like we need to go back and relook at some of these bylaws because NATO was created after World War II, 1949. Yes. And so, all right, that stipulation that, hey, we only act in defensive posture. Since 1949, yes, there have been invasions, unlawful invasions of countries and things of that nature. But there's been a lot of other conflicts that have started for other reasons. So for them to just say, we're only getting involved if there's defense needed, I don't think that's necessarily always fair, because the last thing I'll say about NATO is if we're saying, hey, we're in trouble, we need your help, I don't care how it started, but if we're in trouble, what do you sit it out just to teach us a lesson? Or do you come help us out after all the many, many years and millions and trillions of dollars we've given all these other countries and reciprocate a little bit? Where's that line? I don't know.
Yeah, well, anyways, NATO's kind of a joke, but I will say our artillery is amazing because we had a HIMARS take out a fucking Iranian sub, Connor. Shout out to the artillery.
That hasn't happened in a lot of times, so it's very cool that they're able to do that. And also, I want to say something because I put something out, and I don't remember it verbatim, but I basically said how I thought it was impressive that we had sunk an enemy submarine, and basically the Navy's been on the sideline for like 80 years. They've been going to practice diligently. They've been staying focused, staying ready to get in the game, and they've never gotten in the game. We just largely haven't needed our Navy to do much in the last 80 years. And now they're given a chance to put their training to use. I just thought, like, that's got to be a good feeling that you train, and now we're finally saying, okay, fine, real world, let's go and execute. And they've done that very, very well.
And the Air Force, yeah.
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 Just doing nothing but saying nice things about the other branches. But it's also nice because, gosh, the Army was busy. The Army was busy for 20 years. Navy wasn't doing much. So it's good to see them picking up the slack.
Yeah, Afghanistan had a huge Navy.
Well, I'm not talking about the Marines. I was talking about the Navy. Don't look at me crooked like that. I said the Navy, not the Marines.
No, but I think we can all agree that, like, maybe some other countries step up. We're protecting everybody's oil.
Yeah. All right, let's just move on. There was one thing, and you guys kind of ruined my angle that I wanted to take.
I know.
But there was a story about Gavin Newsom having a picture out there that was allegedly his daughter, and it was very quickly debunked that it was not his daughter. It was some 26-year-old Instagram influencer. His children, the oldest is only 17. And ultimately, I was just going to point out how it's crazy that something was created out of thin air and it was passed off as absolute truth that this was his daughter. And the fact that he has to defend that, whether you like Gavin Newsom, don't like Gavin Newsom, I think that's invasive of his family, because his family's not part of the political machine, right? Actually, maybe his wife, you could argue, is a little bit. But his kids, I think, should be off limits. But it was created, I guess, to poke at him and get him concerned about his family. It's just wild to me, and it harkens back to what we were saying earlier, how it's just we're just operating in different times. And how do you guys think that, is it fair to be a politician these days and have these stories come out about you when they're just so blatantly not even remotely true?
I mean, I'm surprised that you're so surprised by this. Like,
I'm not. I guess what I'm saying is, like, I'm scared that so many people probably thought, like, oh, wow, Gavin Newsom, that's his daughter. Interesting. Like, they just took it as gospel right away. They didn't question it at all.
That's how
the
dumbing down of America has happened. I mean, that's
it's like, again, it's like we live in this world where 50 things are being posted a second, and like the amount of people that got fooled by flight simulator videos thinking it was like our F-35s doing like whiz rolls around Tehran. Like it's everyone is just, there's just too much content out there. People are fucking bored.
Yeah, and perfect example, going back to like our social media discussion, like my son will come and like say something to me, you know, I mean, I don't know, whatever. He'll show me that video of the plane spinning, you know.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, Mom, look at this. And I'm like, that's not real, bud. And he's like, yeah, it is. I saw it's on YouTube.
Right.
Like, he will literally say things to me. I'm like, that's Travis, that's not true. And he's like, yeah, it is. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, he thinks if he sees something on YouTube, it's the truth. And I'm like, buddy, that's not how it works. Just because you see it on YouTube doesn't mean.
How did he
it's
take
real.
that, Ryan? As a father, how did he take that when you said that it was not real? Like, how do you have to like reiterate and follow up with that a few times at that age?
He still does it.
Like,
he still does it. He still tries to like tell me something, and I'm like, no, Travis, that's not right. And he's like, well, I saw it on YouTube, Mom. Like, yeah. And that's how kids think these days. If they see something on the internet, then it means it's fact. So I'm still trying to teach them that is not how it works.
See, that's scary to me. You, as a parent, head on your shoulders, telling him directly, this is not real. And he, you know, 11-year-olds usually take everything their parents say as gospel. And he's just like, nah, Mom, you're wrong. So if he doesn't listen to you, chances are he's not going to listen to a teacher. He's not going to listen to a coach. So he's listening to whom? Other 11-year-olds? Like, that's really scary. I don't know what the answer is to fix this, to course correct this.
Yeah, I think that, like, in his mind, if there's something on the internet, that means that it's fact, you know? Like, that's kind of how...
And there's millions of people who think that.
Yeah, and he's 11.
Yeah, and who are not 11 years old.
Correct.
Right. My point is like, he's 11. I know before he leaves this house and goes out into the real world, he will understand that that is not the case. He may not fully grasp it now, but there's people that, you know, that think that see what they want to see, and that's what it is. So, and there's no critical thinking to that. That's the problem. Like, we have lost all critical thinking skills as a result of the internet.
Because there's so like information is so readily available, and you can just like Claude chat anything, and like it's wild.
That's scary too. I don't know how much you guys use AI, but I use it for work stuff. I use it for stupid stuff, like if I'm watching a movie. I
Yeah.
use it for a variety of different things. But there have been plenty of times where I've gotten an answer and I say, no, that's wrong. And they say,
Yeah, I
oh,
know
yeah,
this
thanks. But like, how many people don't have any sort of way to, any frame of reference to push back on anything? And
Right.
they just, Claude told me. Okay. It's just all very scary. All right. We can move on to any caveats. Did we miss anything? I have something I'd like to discuss, but do you guys have anything?
In closing,
Yes.
I got one thing. Happy birthday to West Point, the world's premier military academy. On this day, March 16th in 1802, Thomas Jefferson pretty much birthed West Point. So shout outs to Thomas Jefferson. Also fun fact here. Without West Point, there would be no such thing as class rings.
Yeah,
For
that's true.
schools, colleges, restaurants, whatever. In 1835, West Point introduced the first class ring. So Navy grads, Texas A&M grads, alum, every fucking school in the world can thank West Point for their beautiful class ring.
Thanks, West Point.
Rob, did your mom get a ring for you?
I got my mother a necklace. I don't think she ever got me a ring.
No, I meant like, I don't know, like a replica or whatever.
Oh, like one of those battle rings?
No, like just like a replica of your class ring.
No. Did you guys do that?
No, my mom was always like, I didn't go to school here. Why would I want that? I'm real proud
Yeah,
of
no,
you.
I
but
think I
don't
got my
need
mother
that.
like a pendant or a necklace.
Yeah.
But
You know what's interesting about Thomas Jefferson? Among a lot of things, we could credit him with creating the wine industry in this country. So thank you for him for that. But he was initially when George and the boys, General Washington and the fellows were like, hey, we need to figure something out for things going forward, to shore up our defenses and our military and have officers and have a place to breed them and teach them about being an officer and tactics and all that. Thomas Jefferson was vehemently opposed, and he said, I don't want that. I don't want this to turn into what we had back in England. So we don't need to perpetuate officers. And then he changed his tune as he was president. Just thought that was interesting that he was opposite. Okay. So we're all parents. And Ryan, your insights will be greatly appreciated here as your children are older. So weeks ago, Alex was away. I'm with Maggie and Mac. We're out at a bowling alley with friends. Maggie has to go to the bathroom. She's potty trained now, as much as a nearly 3-year-old can be. So she knows that, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. She had to go to the bathroom 3 times while we were there. 2 times I took her into the men's room, and then 1 time my friend Carol took her into the ladies' room. From that point, and I guess always had thought like, oh, that's just the way you take her into the men's room as a father of a daughter. And then a video came out yesterday on the internet where this guy was saying, what do you do? And he said, well, I poked my head into the women's room. I said, hey, I'm a guy and I have my daughter. Is anybody in here? Nobody was in there. So he went in. And then while he was in there, a woman came in and he said, hey, I'm in here just letting you know. And he said all the comments were very supportive and women were saying, that's great. Come in the women's room. We're very welcoming. So then I started to question, like, wait, am I supposed to be going into the women's room with my daughter? And I put out a poll on Twitter, and overwhelmingly it said, no, you men take your child into the men's room and, cover their eyes or something. And I was actually thinking of, I'm going to make a movie reference, so this will fall on deaf ears for you, Ryan, because you've never seen any movies. But in 3 Men and a Little Lady, the sequel to 3 Men and a Baby, there's a montage in the beginning, and one of the things is they put a blindfold on her. They're at Shea Stadium, I think, before it was knocked down, and they take her into the men's room and are like covering her eyes. And that's what I think of with my daughter. So what are you supposed to do? What's the answer?
My kid's dad never brought the girls into a women's room. It was he always brought them into the men's room. That's what you're supposed to do. Like,
Okay.
you're the guy, you're the adult, you go into the bathroom designed for you, labeled for
Right.
you, and you
Right.
bring your child in there, whether it's a girl or boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super weird. That's super weird. Like, hey, I'm in here with my kid. I mean, that's weird. Yeah, no. You go in the men's room with Maggie.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too. And then that video made me kind of take a step back and think, was I wrong? But apparently, I don't think I'm wrong based on what you just said and also the Twitter
And the
poll.
poll
Twitter polls
and
usually
the
aren't
vote
90-10. So that's when you know it's like, oh, okay, everyone's doing this way.
Yeah.
Which that makes sense because you think about it, like kids really don't have memories, most memories until they're maybe like 5 or 6. So
Well, first of
we're
all,
talking
I
about-
mean, is it, yeah, like, what, is there anything, yeah, never.
Well, the other thing is too, I would feel so awkward going into a women's room and making women feel awkward that I was in there. Imagine you're a woman, you come in, you see me. That's the last thing you want to see when you go in the women's room.
That's the last thing I want to see.
The last
Or
thing. The
The
last
last
thing.
thing. Yeah.
Yes. Rob, you have a son, so you don't have to worry about this. You're muted.
I have a daughter too.
Yes, you do. Well, I guess I was saying, yeah, your child
Right now,
that needs to
what you're
use
looking at.
restrooms now is
Yeah.
a son. So, but yes, you
Yeah,
do
I
have a
mean,
daughter,
it's,
so you have to consider this.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but okay, flip the switch on that. I have a son too.
Okay,
And
yeah.
Like, I have a son. I didn't bring him in the men's room. I bring him in the women's room. You know?
And actually, come to think of it, when I was little, granted I had 2 sisters, but I don't think that mattered. We'd be at the pool, and like at the end of the day, when you shower up and leave the pool, my mom would take me in the women's room.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember
Yeah,
being in the
I
women's
could.
room.
Yeah. I mean, we did a road trip with my baby daughter a week ago for the Brewers game, right? When she threw the first pitch out. Not my baby, my wife. But yeah, my wife took my daughter to the women's room, changed her there. Like I wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
So yeah. Well, good to hear that everybody's on the same side of the discussion here.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think that's one of those things where you think you might have one answer when you're a parent, or excuse me, before you're a parent, and then it might change when you're a parent. But I'm pretty sure I always thought I would just go into the men's room with my kids, regardless of daughters or sons. So, all right, I think that's all we got. You guys got anything else?
Nothing.
March Madness starts this week, so
Yeah.
that's great. Great time of the year. Here we go. All right, take care. Make it a great week.